Hello friends, this is Nishant Gautam, Associate Professor from the Department of Pharmacology, Laureate Institute of Pharmacy. Friends, in continuation to previous chapter, Introduction and Classification of the Autopoids, today we will discuss one of the kind of autopoid, that is the histamine and the antihistaminics. So for your convenience, I have divided it into the three parts. Let us start this first part and we will discuss the aspects of histamine and the antihistaminics. The main objective of this discussion is to describe the pharmacology of histamine and enumerate its related drugs with respect to the following points. To know the anatomic location and function of histamine H1, H2, H3 and H4 receptors. To distinguish between the first, second generation of H1 antihistaminics and to know the prototypical agents for first and second generation antihistaminics, and also to describe the diversity of desired and undesired action associated with first generation H1 antihistaminics, and the another objective is to classify histamine H1 antagonist, and in addition to this, to describe the pharmacology of H1 antihistaminics with emphasis on clinical use, adverse drug reaction and the interactions. Now, before to start this chapter, histamine and antihistaminics, let us go through the milestones of this chapter and we will discuss accordingly. First, we will go through the brief introduction about the histamine. Then, we will study about the synthesis, storage and release with the metabolism of the histamine. Then, we will study about the clinical manifestation of histamine pathophysiology. Then we will study about the different types of the histamine receptors with their anatomical locations. Then we will study about the different types of the drug that acting on these histamine receptors. Now let us go through the term histamine. A question arises in our mind, what is the histamine? Actually, the term histamine arose from the Greek word that is the histos. Histos means tissue and the amines. So, what we can say, it is the tissue amine. So, how we can define the term histamine? Histamine can be defined as it is a biogenic amine found in many tissues including mast cells, basophils, lymphocytes, neurons and gastric enterochromaffin-like cells. Such a biogenic amine which is found in different types of the tissues is called as the histamine. Actually, the histamine is an autocoid or a chemical molecule which is secreted locally to increase or decrease the activity of nearby cells. Further, this histamine is a major mediator of inflammatory processes, allergic and anaphylactic reactions. With the help of this simple diagram, we can understand the allergic responses. First, there is a exposure to any of the allergen is responsible for the release of IgE antibodies from the plasma cell. Then this released IgE antibodies get attached with that of the surface of mast cells. Then afterwards, with that of the subsequent exposure to the same antigen, these antigens get bind with that of these IgE antibodies which is already present at the surface of the mast cell. So what happens? There is a release of the allergic mediator, that is the histamine, from the mast cell which is present in the granules of the mast cell. This released histamine from the mast cell is responsible for the early allergic symptoms like sneezing, that is the early reaction. Further, at the late reactions, it elicits the advanced symptoms of the allergic and the anaphylactic reactions. And in addition to this, the histamine also has significant role in the regulation of gastric acid secretion, neurotransmission, and immune modulation. Then this histamine is an endogenous substance synthesized, stored, and released by the mast cells, which are abundant in the skin, gastrointestinal tract, and the respiratory tract. Also, histamine synthesized, stored, and released by the basophils present in the blood. And in addition to this, the histamine synthesized, stored, and released by some of the neurons in the CNS and also in the peripheral nervous system. Further, the sinus problem, hay fever, bronchial asthma, hives, eczema, contact dermatitis, food allergies, and reactions to the drugs all are the allergic reactions which are associated with the release of this histamine and other autocoids such as serotonins, leukotrienes, and prostaglandins. Here with the help of this diagram, we can see due to the release of the histamine, an allergic reaction is there which is responsible for the increase in the capillary permeability and which is indicated by the oedema. And if we will give the histamine intradermally, it elicits triple response of the Lewis. That is, first one is the red spot, second is the wheal, and the third is the flare. And all these three are the major sign of the inflammation. Now, let us discuss about the synthesis of the histamine. Basically, the histamine is a beta-imidazolyl ethylamine, a natural body constituent. Or we can say it's a chemical messenger which is synthesized locally from an amino acid called as the histidine. The histidine undergoes the process of decarboxylation with the help of an enzyme called as the L-histidine decarboxylase. And so the histamine is synthesized in many of the different cell types. So this is how from the histidine with the help of L-histidine decarboxylase the histamine synthesized. And most histamine in the body is generated in granules in the mast cells and also in white blood cells, that is leukocytes, called as the basophils. Also, the mast cells are especially numerous at the site of potential injury like the nose, mouth, feet, internal body surfaces, and the blood vessels. The non-mast cell histamine is found in several tissues including hypothalamus, which is a region of the brain where it functions as a neurotransmitter also. And in addition to this, the another important site of histamine storage and release is enterochromophil like cells of the stomach. Now, after the discussion of histamine synthesis, let us discuss about the storage of this synthesized histamine. Already we discussed the histamine stored in the mast cell, basophil and the neurons. Here at these sites of storage, the histamine is present in a complex form. So let us discuss how this histamine gets stored in a complex way. So histamine is stored in a complex either with number 1 heparin or either with number 2 proteases or either with number 3 the chondroitin sulfate or either with the number 4 neutrophilic chemotactic factor or either with the number 5 the eosinophilic chemotactic factor. So this is how the histamine stored in a complex with these 5 of the agents. Then the histamine synthesis and storage can be divided into two pools. Number 1, a slowly turning over pool. Number 2, a rapidly turning over pool. So let us discuss one by one both of the over pools. Number 1, the slowly turning over pool. It is mainly located in mast cells and basophils. Here, the histamine is stored in large granules in these inflammatory cells, and the release of histamine involves complete degranulation of these cells. On another hand, the rapidly turning over pool, it is located in gastric enterochromophil like cells and in histaminergic central nervous system neurons. Here, these cells synthesize and release the histamine as required for the gastric acid secretion and neurotransmission respectively. Now, after this much discussion, a question arises, what are these mast cells? So, what are these mast cells? Till now, we know that these mast cells are having the capacity to synthesize and to store in granules and to release a biogenic amine called as the histamine, called as the mast cells. So here we will discuss in some more detail about these mast cells. So these mast cells are bone marrow derived immune cells that home to varied tissue compartments where they carry out the role in host defenses against the infectious pathogens, allergens, toxins and autoimmune diseases. Further, they are essential to the innate immune response and they participate in both positive and negative regulation of the adaptive immune response. Here you can see the diagram of the mast cell. In that the granules, also we can say the sac, they are containing the mediator that is called as the histamine. So here are the two diagrams, one is black and white, one is the color diagram of the histamine mast cells. So as we already discussed, mast cells are bone marrow derived immune cells. And in continuation to this, what are mast cells? The mast cell heterogeneity. The mast cell development occurs from a hematopoietic stem cells denoted as HSC. This one. See in this diagram. In the bone marrow that proceeds along myeloid lineage through the common myeloid progenitor, that is the CMP. See in this diagram, this one. And granulocyte are also called as the macrophage progenitor, that is the GMP. See in this diagram here. The mast cell progenitors MCP develop either from GMP or directly from the HSC, that is the hematopoietic stem cell, and circulate in the bloodstream, migrate into peripheral tissue and matures. Further, the common basophil or the mast cell progenitors BMCP, this one, see in this diagram, are found in the spleen and can develop into the MCP, that is the mast cell progenitor, and the basophil progenitor BAP, this one. Because the mast cell maturation is influenced by local microenvironmental factors, different mast cell phenotypes can develop in different tissues and even in different locations of the same tissue. And in addition to this, the changing microenvironment surrounding the mast cell in both physiological, for example, hormone change during the menstrual cycle, and pathological conditions, for example, inflammatory cell infiltration or activation in inflamed tissue. It causes further change in the mast cell heterogeneity. See here in this diagram. So this is how we can define the mast cell heterogeneity. So whole of this discussion includes the information regarding the answer what are the mast cells. So this is called as the mast cells. So finally, with the help of this diagram, here I have summarized what is a mast cell. As we know, the mast cells are a part of the immune system. The mast cells play a role in inflammation, help defend against pathogens, and are involved in wound healing and tissue repair. Further, they are found in most tissues throughout the body, especially those that interact with the outside environment, including the lungs, gastrointestinal tract, and the skin. Then, the mast cells are well known for releasing histamine during allergic reactions, such as in pollen or insect sting allergies. So, we can say they play an important role in anaphylaxis. Also, they can detect and respond to foreign substances. What happens? Histamine is a mediator. So once it is released, so when a mast cell is activated by a trigger, these granules that is present in the mast cell, they releases many mediators. These chemicals mediate the reactions leading to the symptoms. Those symptoms may be the inflammation, anaphylactic shocks. So depend on the chemical mediators released from these granules from the mast cell, we can say the different type of symptoms were elicited. Finally, a question arises, what is the mast cell disease? Actually, the mast cell disease happens when these cells are not behaving normally, so such a condition reflects towards a disease called as the mast cell disease. Now, after the discussion about synthesis and storage of histamine, let us discuss about the different mechanisms which are responsible for the release of histamine. As we know, the histamine is usually found in storage granules as a complex with sulfated polysaccharides, heparins, and the histamine released locally either by number one, immunological mechanism, number two, chemical or the drug, and by physical conditions it get released, or it may release due to the tissue injury. So what happens if tissue injury is there, the mast cell activation is there, and once mast cell is activated, it releases the histamine by the degranulation processes. Now, let us discuss in detail about the release mechanism of histamine one by one. The first one, what we discussed earlier, that was the immunological mechanism behind the release of histamine. That is also considered as a allergic reactions. What happens once the exposure of an antigen to a previously sensitized or exposed subject is there, it can immediately trigger the allergic reactions to such kind of the patients, because if it is sensitized by the IgE antibodies which already get attached to their surface of the mast cell on the first exposure, and what happens on second exposure with the same antigen, the antibody attached with that of the mast cell is triggers the mast cell to degranulate and to release the histamine with ATP and other mediators. Such kind of or such type of the mechanism is called as the immunological mechanism of histamine release. Then the second mechanism is behind the release of histamine is due to the exposure of drugs and other foreign compounds. And these compounds are morphine, dextran, dyes, anti-malarial drugs, antibiotic bases, alkaloids, amides, quaternary ammonium compounds, enzymes like phospholipase C, also penicillin, tetracycline, basic drugs like amides, amidins, diamidins, toxins, venoms, proteolytic enzymes, also bradykinin, calidin, and the substance P are the compounds which are also responsible for the release of the histamine. Then the third mechanism behind the release of histamine is due to the tissue injury. If due to any physical or chemical agent there is a tissue injury, like in the skin or mucosa, so these are particularly very sensitive to the injury, and it will cause the immediate release of the histamine from their mast cells. So these are the three mechanisms through which there is a release of histamine takes place. So finally, among all these three mechanisms of histamine release, the most important pathophysiologic mechanism of mast cell and basophil histamine release is immunogenic. These cells mast cell and the basophil if get sensitized by the IgE antibodies which is already attached to their membranes. It triggers the degranulation when exposed to the appropriate antigen. This we can understand with the help of this simple diagram. Initially what happens on the contact with that of the allergen, the beta cells get activated and this B cells activation is responsible for the formation of the plasma cells and these plasma cells releases IgE antibodies and this release IgE antibodies that bind with that of the surface of mast cell where the IgE receptor is there. With this IgE receptor, this released IgE antibodies get bind over the surface of mast cell. Then what happens on the subsequent contact with the same allergen? This allergen get bind with that of these IgE antibodies which is present on the surface of mast cell and it triggers the release of the histamine and the leukotrienes which is a mediator for the allergic reactions and it is the inflammatory mediator responsible for the symptoms like rashes, sneezing and the vomiting. In continuation to this, let us discuss in detail about the release of inflammatory mediator that is the histamine. To focus on this diagram, the first point reflecting that upon the first exposure to the allergen, the antigen presenting cell processes the antigen and present it to the T helper type 2 cell with the help of class 2 major histocompatibility complex. Then at the second stage what happens? The T helper second type of the cell releases interleukin 4 and interleukin 13 which activates the B cells. Then after the activation of B cells what happens? The B cell proliferate and differentiate into the plasma cells and synthesize the IgE antibody and release the IgE antibodies. Then further focus on this fourth step. What happens? This IgE antibodies get bind to the mast cell by Fc region sensitizing the mast cells. Then afterwards what happens on the exposure of the antigen? The C fifth point, upon subsequent exposure to the antigen, these mast cell with IgE bind to the antigen and release the inflammatory molecules like the histamine and resulting in the allergic symptoms and the inflammation. Now, in continuation to this, let us discuss in detail about the release of inflammatory mediator that is the histamine. As we know, histamine present in the complex form. So, how it get released into its free form to target the cells, let us discuss in detail with the help of this simple diagram. We will discuss this release of histamine step by step. First, what happens in sensitized atopic individuals, specific reagenic IgE antibody is produced and gets bound to Fc epsilon receptor I on the surface of mast cell. In this diagram, it is denoted as the FCERI. Here it is. See the diagram. Then what happens just after this? On the challenge of the antigen breaches the IgE molecules. It results in the transmembrane activation of the tyrosine protein kinase. See this the exposure of antigen and it is forming the bridge. And due to the exposure of this antigen to this IgE antibody, there is an activation of the tyrosine protein kinase. Here it is, see the diagram. Then due to which this phosphorylates and activates the phospholipase C. Then what happens? The phosphatidyl-inositol biphosphate, that denoted as PIP2, is hydrolyzed, and so that the inositol triphosphate IP3 is generated. Here it is. IP3 is getting generated in this diagram. Then what happens? This IP3, that is the inositol triphosphate, it triggers intracellular release of the calcium. This calcium ion induces the fusion of the granule membrane with the plasma membrane of the mast cell. It results in the exocytotic release of the granule content, that is the histamine. Then what happens? This released histamine from these granules is having the positively charged histamine, which is held complexed with negatively charged protein and heparin molecule. So already we discussed histamine always present in the complex form with the protein and the heparin, which is negatively charged. So here see in the diagram, with that of the protein and heparin, the positively charged histamine is in the complex form get released. Then what happens? The cationic exchange with extracellular sodium and or the calcium sets the histamine free to act on the target cell. So like this, see in this diagram, now due to this there is a free form of the histamine get released to act on the target cell. So this is how stepwise step after the sensitization of the atopic individual with specific reagenic antibody, that is IgE, there is the degranulation and the release of histamine takes place, and due to which the inflammatory and allergic responses are elicited. Now, for your more interest, here is the well-labeled 3D diagram of mast cell showing degranulation after the exposure of allergens and triggers. Just do focus on this 3D diagram. The first point showing the position of allergens and triggers approaching towards the IgE antibodies. Then the second one is showing the storage granules which stores the histamine and tryptase within the mast cell. Then the third point reflecting the mast cell. Then the fourth point reflecting the position of IgE antibodies which is present above the surface of the mast cell, that is above the membrane of the mast cell. Then the fifth point reflecting the position of histamine and tryptase within the storage granules. And finally, the sixth point showing the process of degranulation, that is the release of histamine from the storage granules after the exposure of the allergens and triggers to the IgE antibodies. So, sometimes in few of the individuals, due to the misbehave and unstabilization of the mast cell, what happens? There is the excess release of the histamine. So due to which what happens? There is a excess gastric acid secretion is there, and blood vessel get dilated, and also it is responsible for the contraction of the respiratory ways, and further in addition to this it is also responsible for the itching. So this is the release of histamine and it affects these target organ and the organ systems. Then what happens in case of these allergic reactions? In case of these allergic reactions, these allergens are responsible for the release of the histamine as we discussed earlier. This released histamine in case of the allergic reactions, it is responsible for the increased mucus secretion. Then also it is responsible for the blood vessel expansion and edema. Then further it is also responsible for the contraction of respiratory ways, and in addition to this it is responsible for the itching and rashes. Then, with the help of this simple diagram, we can easily understand the IgE mediated allergic reactions. So, what happens? An allergen, that is an environmental substance that triggers an immune response despite not being intrinsically harmful. What happens? This immune response tends to be localized to the region of exposure. The region of exposure to these allergens is the airways and throat, where the immune response tends to localize. So we can see this immune response at these two places as an allergic reactions. But once these severe allergic reactions become the systemic allergic reactions, so it is called as the anaphylaxis, and it can be fatal if untreated. So just focus on this diagram. Here there is a stage of allergic reactions. The first stage is the sensitization part takes place. Here, due to the initial exposure to the allergen, the sensitization process takes place. As already we discussed, due to exposure of the allergen, the B cells generates the plasma cells. These plasma cells synthesize and releases the IgE antibodies, and these IgE antibodies get bind with that of the surface of the mast cell, and in the second stage, that is the allergic reaction stage. Here what happens? Due to the secondary exposure to the same antigen, it get bind with that of the antibodies present on the mast cell, and after the binding of this antigen to the antibody which is present above the mast cell or on the membrane of the mast cell, the IgE antibody is there. With that, this antigen once get bind, it is responsible for the degranulation and the release of the histamine from the mast cell granules. So this released histamine is responsible for the allergic reactions. So likewise, in the two steps, the allergic reactions takes place, which is mediated by the IgE antibodies. Now, let us discuss the IgE mediated inflammatory response with the help of this simple diagram. The release of histamine from IgE primed mast cell causes an inflammatory response also. Those results in the allergic symptoms. Actually, the inflammation improves leukocyte mobility to infected regions by triggering the two processes, that is the vasodilation and increase the capillary permeability. Let us discuss one by one. First, the vasodilation. It is the widening of blood vessel to improve the circulation of blood to the target region. But what happens? This vasodilation causes redness. As vessel expansion moves the blood closer to the skin, and there is a heat at that area and which is transported in the blood. So due to transport of high blood over the skin area, the heat sensation is also there. Then the second thing, capillary permeability. It describes the capability for leukocytes to leave the bloodstream and migrate into the body tissues. So what happens? It leads to swelling. Capillary permeability leads to the swelling. Why? Because more fluid leak from the blood and the pain sensation is there. The pain sensation is there because the swelling causes the compression of the nerves at that individual area. So, due to these two consequences, the vasodilation and capillary permeability, what happens? The redness, heat, swelling, and localized pain are the typical symptoms are seen at the individual area as an allergic response and as an inflammatory response. So this is how the IgE also mediate the inflammatory responses. Finally, let us know about the IgE mediated releases. If you will talk about the food, the eggs, peanuts, milk and the milk products, grains, strawberries, etc. are the IgE mediated releases which mediates the allergic responses. Then if you will talk about the drugs, the penicillin and sulfonamides, etc. Then in case of this venoms, the venom of fire ants, the venom of the snake and the bees, etc. Then if you will talk about the foreign proteins, they are the non-human insulin and the serum proteins, etc. These are the mediators which are responsible for the IgE mediated allergy responses. Then in addition to this enzyme, for example, chymotrypsin is the another IgE mediated releaser which is responsible for the allergic responses. So that's all for the day. We will continue the same chapter, histamine and antihistaminics, in its second part. Till then, revise the topic from the book. Have a nice day and thank you.